How's it going, everyone? Thank you so
Hello,
much for
hello.
joining us for the very first episode of the Weekday Edit. We're so excited to be here. I'm Ellie.
I'm Arabella.
And yeah, we're going to have so much fun today. We're going to be talking about starting a photography business, and Arabella is also going to be editing a image using Lightroom and Photoshop. And I'm really excited to see all of that come together. So please say hello in the chat. Let us know where you guys are watching from, and feel free to ask questions as we go along. We'll be answering them in the chat today. So feel free to ask as many questions as you want. And also, we're going to be trying to answer some of the questions that were sent in to us on Instagram. So we'll see how we can get to those today. As many as we can get through, we'll get through as Arabella's editing. So we have a lot
Yes.
going on, and it's going to be so fun.
And no question, ask them all because
Yes.
we are here to answer them all. And, whether it's photography business, or
Yeah.
editing, Photoshop, Lightroom, like we are here and we're an open book. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, really quick, before we jump into editing, I wanted to kind of go through a little bit of how we started our business, since that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about today. Give a very, very brief overview of our business, which is called Weekend Creative, and also just kind of talk about how we got our first client and kind of talk about some of the things that you can do if you're starting your business and you're wanting to get your own clients. So, if we want to
Yeah.
just pull up that little
Yeah, of
deck
course.
that we have.
I know. And I believe, did you make this in Adobe Express?
I did, you guys. Adobe Express I've loved it for a long time, but recently it's like that's my go-to now. I love it so much, especially all the updates that they've made recently. I'm obsessed. So, yeah, it was super, super quick and easy to do this, which, yeah, I love. I love a good time
Love
saving.
it.
Yes. Okay, so let's jump really quick through this.
Cool.
I was like doing my keys as if I was gonna change the pages, but it's on your screen. Okay,
It is on my
so
screen.
taking it back to the
Awesome.
beginning. So look at us, little baby Ellie and Arabella,
Aw.
which by the way, I'm Ellie and this is Arabella.
This, yep.
Forgot to introduce ourselves. So excited. Just jump right
Uh,
in.
yes.
So
Yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So Ellie and I met in at San Jose State, which is
Hmm.
our San Jose, local university. And
Yep.
yeah, we met in a intro to studio lighting class, and we became partners through the class. The reason we met was because I complimented her on her Madewell bag, and
Yes.
the rest is history. But yeah, we just like worked really well together in
Mhm.
school, and then she ended up actually, bringing me on to her work. If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, go to the next slide and we can take a look at that. So, I was working at a local magazine at the time. It was a local arts and culture magazine, and Arabella came on there with me. And so we were working together, and we were actually shooting a lot of fashion work. We were shooting a lot of social media content too, but
Yeah.
we got to do fashion editorials together, and that was so fun. And that was where we kind of figured out our different strengths and our different roles.
Yeah.
So I was doing art direction and styling, and Arabella was doing photography and post production. And we kind of were like, oh, we actually like tag team really well in this.
Yeah.
So we got to shoot Angela Johnson in the Winchester Mystery House. That was
Oh,
so
the
cool.
best.
That was probably the best project that we did there. But yes, so then we were like, okay, we are working for a boss. We are kind of wanting to just be more creative and do
Branch
our own
out.
thing, branch out.
Yeah.
So we had no intention of starting a business, but I was like, let's just email some local companies, see if they'll give us product. We'll give them photos. We'll just have some
Yes.
fun. So we emailed It's Ice Cream. If you're in the Bay Area, you probably know of them. They're these really delicious ice cream sandwiches. And that was our first client because we emailed
Literally.
them and they were like,
We
actually,
actually we actually contacted them through their like dinosaur of a website.
oh my
So
gosh. I was like, no one even
their
checks these
contact
emails
form.
probably. Yeah. But that's just goes to show you never know what's going
You
to
never
happen
know.
if you just send an email and put yourself out there. So we reached out to them. They paid us a little bit. What we made, we basically spent on the shoot, but that was kind of like, we were like, wait, people make money doing this. And it kind
Hmm.
of sparked this idea in us that maybe we could make money doing this as well. But
Yeah.
if you take a look at these images, like very clearly, we did not know what we were doing.
We didn't.
We like these poor pumpkins. Like if you see, like we didn't know, oh, you can just Photoshop out all those little
Oh,
imperfections. We thought that like we could do this cool ice cream dripping photo. No, we didn't know, right? But everyone starts
oh man.
somewhere.
Yes.
Everyone starts somewhere. So if you go to the next slide, this is our work
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
And
Oh, so proud of it.
yes, and actually we're almost 6 years in now, which is
I
crazy.
know. Yeah.
So this is some of our clients that we've worked with, some of the work that we've done in the more recent years, and you can see,
The
so
big
much has
difference.
changed.
And honestly, shout out to Adobe and their products
Yes.
because this would not be possible without them. And,
Yeah.
it's very obvious just how much, Photoshop and Lightroom Classic and all these tools have been instrumental for us to like get to this level of work that we're at now. So yeah,
Absolutely. And we're also really passionate about creating resources for other photographers. We are
education
mostly, yes, we're mostly self-taught. We mostly had to learn everything on Google University. And so,
and YouTube,
and YouTube University, and
college.
yes. Yes. So we love sharing what we've learned and making things accessible for other photographers. So this link here, you can see that that's where all our resources live. And there's other things on our site as well as like a blog that is totally free that you guys can access. And so yeah, we are really passionate about that. And that's why we're also really excited for this
Yeah.
opportunity to do more consistent streams with Adobe. We
Yes.
love that
And talk
they're,
about all these things, right?
yes,
Because they're important. It's not just like the creative, but like sometimes a lot of the creative people have a harder time with the business and the all of
yes.
that
Oh
stuff.
my
So it's like,
gosh.
why not let's all help each other and like
Yes.
learn together and just do it while we edit.
Yes, exactly. And we love that these are free resources for you guys
Yeah.
through Adobe. So with that, we wanted to share today kind of how we get clients and how you can get your own clients. And it's going to lead into what Arabella is working on today. So first off, how to get clients. The first one is create personal projects.
Yes.
This could also be called test shoots. And we love this. Personal projects will help you build your portfolio. They will help you learn how to troubleshoot things. So you can like kind of figure out what to do. Like if this happens, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I make this look better when you're not under the pressure of shooting with a client on set with you or watching virtually? And then it also helps you just to practice your process, and it will also help you to attract the clients that you want, the clients that
Yeah.
you're wanting to work with.
Exactly. Especially because the personal projects are the ones that like you really enjoy and put a lot of love into. And
Yes,
so, it's gonna resonate when it show, when you
absolutely.
finish. Yeah.
And the second one is to send cold emails. Our first client, we sent an email, and we've actually gotten so many clients just by sending an email, putting ourselves in front of them when they otherwise may never see our work or even know who we are.
Know who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes that takes a long time of being persistent, following up, bugging people.
Yep.
Sometimes from that first response, it can take a long time before, they actually um end up working with us, but it's worth it. And you can do that through just finding their email address on their website or through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is another great place to kind of cold outreach for people.
Yeah.
And then network outside of your field. We have several friends who are graphic designers who will refer clients to us and vice versa. Kind of like just making friends with people outside of your industry is a great
Yeah.
way to make new
Building your
connections.
community is
Yes.
super important because that person will remember you and what you
Yeah.
do and will definitely, put the word out.
Absolutely. And then focusing on good relationships. I think it's so important. Sometimes we kind of forget this. Good relationships with the clients that you get, one, because it's way easier to, have clients come back to you than to try to find new
Yeah.
clients all the time. But even just good relationships in your industry and outside of your industry, focusing on building up other creatives. And I think,
Yeah.
instead of seeing others as competitors, seeing how you can learn from each other, how you can partner together. And I think that's so important. It will give you a good reputation in your
Yeah.
field, but also it just helps our whole community. Instead of like competing against each other, we can help each other.
Yeah.
And that's just incredibly
Grow alongside
valuable.
each other. I think that's the
Yes.
key.
Yes.
Which is what this whole stream, and show is about too.
Yes. Yes. And we want to learn and grow with you. So, yes, please reach out to us if you guys want to be friends with us. We want to we want to have as many friends in the creative field as possible. That's always been our
Definitely.
goal. So yeah, moving on to personal projects. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be focusing on that. These images, all of these images you see here were personal projects that we created for fun.
Mhm.
And all of these images have gotten us clients and have led to
Yeah.
work. We've grown through all of them. We've learned a lot through all of this work. And it's been really cool to just kind of see our work evolve over time. And that is
Yeah.
through practice. You can't get better at something if you don't practice it. And practicing all parts of your process, the pre-production, the shooting, and the post-production. And so, Arabella, do you want to take it away and jump into
Yeah.
the post-production that we're going to be working on today?
Yes, definitely. So you might have seen some of these images actually before when we've done one of our other Adobe live streams where we were kind of jumping into Firefly and,
Yes.
Photoshop beta. But you guys, Firefly is out of beta now, and I am so excited about this because, no more needing an extra app to have to go into and play around with generative fill and generative expand.
Yes.
But we'll get into it. So you might have seen some of these images before, but essentially, we did this personal project because we collaborated actually with a brand that creates like backdrops. So if you'll see on like the original like images here without any edits at all, you'll see that we kind of placed the like gradient backdrop in the back and then reflected it onto as the ground. So anyway, we collaborated with this backdrop company, and then on top of that we just chose like, hey, we want to do more like beverage shoots, and we just love them. And so we're like, let's do a canned, seltzer and like really just have fun with it. And so, we picked this one here, and it has like a ton of flavor. So there's the mango strawberry, there's the tropical cherry. This is the edited version. And then, we've got the raspberry lemonade. So we really got to play with all the different colors and the moods and the props. And so the image that we're going to be working on today is kind of like an almost finished version of it. I'm pretty much almost done cleaned up, but I want to show how to put it all together because this is actually what it looked like previously. So it looked like this. So there's a lot of compositing, there's a lot of cleaning up, and we want it to look with the editing style of this image here. So let's just get started. So I'm going to open up that Photoshop file because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove you'll see how many layers there are. And we'll just get right into it. So again, I just love, personal projects are my favorite. But honestly, at the same time, I'm always like, I want them to be so perfect. So it always takes me a long time to get them done. I don't know if you guys are perfectionists out there, but it's just, I could go on forever, retouching everything. And especially with all the new tools, the remove tool being or the remove tool kind of almost taking over like the spot healing brush tool. Spot healing brush tool was like my absolute favorite. And so now that the remove tool is here, is like, I don't even like spot healing who. And then obviously now too with generative fill, like it's just even more exciting.
Yes.
So there's lots of things, but so I've already, in Lightroom taken care of like doing kind of like the color corrections, which if you look at any of our other streams too, you'll kind of notice how I get started. But I just want to get into Photoshop now so that we can see how we go back into Lightroom and make even more additional kind of like stylistic edits. So this is kind of what it looks like before. And then let's see, or after editing. And let's go ahead and just remove all of these. And you can tell like all the different things that I did here. And actually, you know what? I have an even better idea, you guys, because I want to show you guys just like the rawness of it all.
Yeah, let's see it.
So let's just see it. So I'm going to just go ahead and take these, and I'm going to actually rename them just so that we have new files here. Okay, perfect. That way I can just pop them into Lightroom, and they're different images, so I don't have to worry about them taking over what I've already have there. Awesome. So let's just go ahead and bring it in because this is important. I want to show you guys just how cool it is to like use the auto align in Photoshop, which is great because especially when you're doing compositing work, like that's like one of my favorite tools. Because sometimes like, I don't know, even when you're shooting like like with a tripod and everything, like we have small sets. Sometimes you might even like hit the tripod or something
Yes.
happens,
That's
or
always,
like
it's always me. I
it's all
always do that.
or like, we're like stepping over, like leaning in to put in a flower or
Yeah.
holding
Things
something, and
shift
we push the
around.
table down. So like things shift,
Yeah.
and it's important to sort of, make sure that things are aligned as much as possible to make your life easier.
Mhm.
So anyway, so great. I'm glad that I'm showing you this. So I usually like to take the little eyedropper tool here in Lightroom Classic, and I like to click that little gray card there. And always, if you have seen anything from us before, you know that we love our gray card shot because it helps with colors. I mean, that's like such a big difference
Oh, yeah.
from that to this. Like the colors just
So
stand out
much
so much
better.
more. Yeah. And then, of course, I always go down and do my usual lens correction edits. And I like to take and copy those settings so that I can apply them to the rest of the images. So here are the images that I'm going to be working with. So it's these and these. And now you notice, I don't know if you noticed in the previous one, I actually had kind of like a blurred out version of this over here. And I actually just took this whole thing and like
Nice.
photoshopped it. Because I'm like, something's missing over there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and apply these settings. And then Ellie, whenever you want to answer or ask questions, like we can talk through
Okay.
anything. So
Okay.
you feel
Sounds
free to
good.
cut me whenever.
I will.
Okay, so let's go ahead and edit these, and I'll make them open as layers in Photoshop. That way it just kind of puts it together. Perfect. Doing it so fast. I love it.
Yeah. And you can see that one little branch leaf, palm leaf, we were just moving that around, taking different shots because we planned that this would be a composite.
Yes.
Because I think we only had one. I think we only had one, and we were like, we want it to be in multiple places.
Yes,
So
exactly. And honestly, like I am obsessed with this. This feels very tropical in like
yes,
all the ways. So
yes,
I'm excited to have like that part, that element, and then this element over here. And I think I even moved it a little bit over, So I'll go ahead and show you guys how we get to that point. But anyway, so I usually like to click all of the layers at once, and I head on over to edit, auto align layers, and then I leave it on auto. And this basically just kind of aligns the layers.
yeah,
Self-explanatory, but it's like one of my favorites. Like I love it because then you'll notice, you can see how there's transparency over here because it like they adjusted it.
right.
They as in Photoshop.
They,
They
the
like they're a
magical
person.
little Photoshop wizard back there
But so now, exactly. I know. What if they're all just like
behind the
little
scenes.
goblins?
They're like a little Photoshop
like
goblin,
like little goblins in, like in
little
Harry Potter.
Photoshop fairy. Yeah.
Is anyone a Harry Potter fan out there?
Oh
Because
my
I
gosh.
just restarted the audiobooks recently, and I've been doing it while I've been editing. But
Oh,
now I swear they're listening to me. And so now all this content, Harry Potter content, is coming out on my feeds.
I love it.
I love it. Okay, so now I can just like take these little like icons here and kind of filter through the layers, and you can tell that literally everything is placed
Yeah.
exactly where it
Perfect.
needs to be, which makes my job so much easier. Especially because like this one, there's reflection. So I'm not
Mhm.
gonna I can't just like select it and then drop it in. I have to just kind
Yeah.
of brush it in. This one I have a lot more flexibility. I can
Mhm.
definitely do an object selection tool situation. So but let's just start with this one. So I usually like to add a layer mask. And I do a Command I while I have the layer mask selected, and that basically turns it black, which takes it away. And all we want to do is just kind of go in here and with a pretty big brush, and then 100% opacity for now. And then we can fine tune after. But oh, and you have to make sure that you're on the white, right? Opposite of whatever the layer mask is. So, I can kind of start painting here, and there we go.
Bringing
So
it in.
bring it in.
Okay, so a question that was sent on Instagram. Um,
Yes.
do you have tips for exporting galleries? It takes me forever to crop and export at full and web sizes. And I was like, maybe we can do a whole stream on just like the exporting process at some point.
Yeah,
But do you
actually.
have any quick tips on that?
So exporting like full galleries.
Yeah, kind of like if you have a bunch of images that you were working
Yeah.
in Photoshop, you're trying to export all of
Oh
them.
my
It
gosh,
sounds like
true.
crop and
Yeah, well, I
export.
mean,
Yeah.
oof. both like for cropping and then exporting?
Yeah,
I mean, I
think
think
so.
for that's the like I think that's why I like to use both programs, right, at the same
Yeah.
time. Like Adobe Lightroom Classic, like you can have all your images here. And if you're
Hmm.
going to do the same crop on all of them, like
Yeah.
you can literally do, like, let's say I'm cropping this to a 4:5 or whatever, but maybe the vertical version or something. So I can do that, press OK. And then I just make sure that when I'm copying those settings, I include the crop and it's going to do that same
Mm,
exact
yeah.
thing for all of
Yeah.
them, right? So, and then from there, honestly, I select all those images and I hit export. And, I like kind of have to go through these like file naming, the file settings just to
Yeah.
make sure that everything's good. But they have so many different options for like renaming how you want the file naming to be. So if
Yeah.
there's going to be multiple images, sometimes I'll do a custom name in a sequence, right? And have the number start at 1 or whatever. But for the most part, I think that's what I usually do. If I'm just, doing a single, then I just do a custom name. But that is probably the easiest for me personally.
Yeah.
But I know the struggle. I feel like it just, like sometimes
Just
it
takes
depends.
so much
It
time.
takes time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. So let's just get back in here and let's see. Okay. So I'm going in, making sure that I have everything in here as far as this green palm goes. I'm being a little loose with it, but as you can tell, like obviously it's not perfect. So you can tell that some of
Yeah.
the things get moved. Like, do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to make sure I can clean it up later, and I probably will, but just got to make sure that everything is brought in. I am loving this like plexiglass
I
situation.
know.
It's so
It
cool.
was so fun. It was so
So
fun to play
fun.
with. And
I
so nice
know.
because we could get water all over it and it was fine.
Yeah.
No, no issues.
No
So
issues.
another question is, what is your
Yeah.
process like for booking clients? So like turning an inquiry into a client.
Ooh,
So
great question.
yeah, I think having a really strong deck that you send back, like instead of sending just an estimate, sending a deck that explains your process, it
Yeah.
shows your work and it shows the value that you're going to bring to the project. I think that's really important because the person who reaches out to you, they may not be the final decision maker and they may be passing your estimate off to someone else. And that person may not ever take the time to actually go to your website, look at your work.
Right.
That you want to show them, like, if that's the only thing that this person sees, is it enough to win the job? So that, and then I think having really good questions in your intake form so that you're able to, send an estimate and, make sure that you have all the details that you need. That's important.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then if you don't have all the details you need, hop on a call and make sure that you get all those details and ask questions. Don't be afraid. Ask more questions than you think that you need to
Yeah.
clarify. It's better to be clear up front versus, get surprises later on. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
but
over ask almost.
yes, yes. And then follow up with people. People
Yeah.
don't, so they may reach out to you and then they may not respond right away. Like, of course, give them time, but don't be afraid to follow up and show that you're actually interested in working with them and you want to partner with them. Be responsive from the beginning as much as you can,
Yeah,
respond in a
definitely.
timely manner and then follow up, and don't be afraid to follow up a few times. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Great question though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I went in and also removed. So I like kind of turned back to the like black and removed some of
Nice.
that little part right there, just because I noticed that it was like looking fuzzy. So I wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
that was cleaned up. But that looks pretty good so far. And the other thing too, since we did align those layers, there's gonna be a bit of you know transparency on the edges, but that's okay because I'm gonna do some cropping in a little bit, so I'm not too worried about that yet. But let's just go ahead and grab this one here. And now for this one, I am going to do an object selection tool. So guys, I was like yesterday years old when I found out that I could lasso select something versus do a
Yeah.
rectangle. And I just feel like they really need to make sure, I don't know, they should have put it more obvious because I've always been doing this
Blaming
instead.
Photoshop. Wow.
I mean, I know, but So, I mean, that's pretty good, right?
That's really good. Yeah.
That's really good. But I also like the fact that there's a lasso tool now. So
Yes.
I can literally, do this, and that might even like yield some better results too, because then it's like there's nothing else that's getting selected. So I kind of feel like that's even like a much stronger tool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That looks good. Okay. And then if I wanted to fix up anything else, I can always, go in and, fix the selection too. So there we go. I think that's almost maybe just like a sliver there.
There's a tiny little bit of that red spot
Yes.
there.
Thank you.
You're
will
welcome.
do that right now. Okay. Perfect. I know it included that actually in the first one too.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So I always love to do, and then this contextual taskbar is the best too, because now I can just go here to select and mask versus having to do like the select and mask.
Yes.
Having to like go all the way up. Not that it's like that much work.
Hey, but whatever saves time, saves time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. So, okay. So with this one, I always love to do, well, actually, this is pretty well defined. I don't even really need to go over it with the refine edge brush tool, but I will go up in radius a little bit, and that just kind of cleans up the selection. I'll go ahead and smooth it out a little bit, and I might even feather it slightly. But that looks pretty good. I'm okay with that. So I hit okay. And then I can go ahead and add a layer mask. And now it's just this that I'm seeing, right? So I can now basically kind of move this around a little bit.
Cool.
Super cool. Love it. I can even adjust it if I want, right? Like I can, make it bigger or something and do it that way. That's kind of fun. Cause let's say I wanted to like crop in a little bit closer.
Yes.
Then I can like, I can manipulate it to kind of however I want. But I'll go ahead and leave it here for now because I like that it takes up more space so before all this Gen AI fun stuff, like, we would shoot something and like, we'd have a very specific case for it, right? For this image, we were probably going to crop it to a 4:5 for like Instagram portrait. It's just like nice and clean. But now with like all these different tools that have like, honestly, like been a game changing, like I can now think of like maybe making this a whole full image, right? Because right here, you can see that there's this ugly block tape that we had to put on the flower so that I would stand up. But you guys, when I show you, that generative fill is so smart. I'm literally, so good. Okay. Let me show you. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that for now. So let's just go ahead and grab it all. And I'm doing that by doing, what's it called? Let's see. Oops. All right. I'm doing that by Command A to select everything. And then I usually do Command Shift C and then Command V. And that's kind of like a copy merged and then pasting it all on a whole new layer. So I'm going to call this my base. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy this and call it clean. We love a clean layer. Okay, so now let's start getting into the nitty gritty. So let's just go with this first because I am amazed because I did this like yesterday or the day before and I was just like obsessed. So I'm going to go ahead and do the lasso tool here. And I'm just going to go around this tape and see what happens when we do generative fill here. Now, I'm sorry if this takes a little bit. I mean, we just got to be patient, okay?
Yep.
I mean, we're asking a lot of it. It's doing the work. But I'm always like, beautiful. I can't. This would have taken me so much. Like, well, actually, maybe it wouldn't have. But still, like, it like reduces the amount of time that it takes for me to do something. So honestly, I'm really happy. And of course, it comes with like the different variations. So if there's one that I liked better, I can do that. I think I'm liking this first one.
I like that one.
Honestly.
That one
I'm
looks great.
Pretty happy with that. So I will leave that. And then I'll just move this little like contextual taskbar because I don't want it to be there. Sometimes it gets so close that you're like, okay, now you're in my way. So,
you're being too helpful.
I know you're being too helpful. It's being clingy. It's being a little clingy. That's what's happening. But yeah, so now I can just like build on top of all these like things. Look, guys, I can't.
Amazing.
I literally
Amazing.
cannot. I am just
Mm-hmm.
obsessed. Like that looks so natural.
Yes.
Like I am, and then obviously like for this image too, like right now, one of the things that is my like, I don't know, quarrel with the generative fill is that obviously the quality isn't like super massive. I think it's like 1024 by 1024. But like for these little sections right here,
Yes.
that's like all I
Totally
need. It's
fine. And this is
perfect.
going
Like
on Instagram, so it's not
it's
going to go
going on
on a
Instagram. Yeah,
billboard somewhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like, you know, I can even, I'm pretty sure I can also like see, so let's say like a selection, right? Fixed
Mm-hmm.
size. I can add in the actual pixels to see like how much I can actually get away with, right? So if I do
Yeah.
that, let me see. Oh, did it do it? Maybe not. Okay, let me see. Oh, there we go. Perfect. I just needed to click. So that is the quality of size right there. That's
Yeah.
1024 by 1024. So that actually does like a pretty, you know what I mean? Like I can
Yeah.
take these like
Yeah.
pieces right here and make it work.
Yeah.
So really happy with that. Thank you, Photoshop and
Yes.
Adobe Firefly,
And
because wow.
yes, this is the latest version of Photoshop. So if you're not seeing these tools in your app, like just
Update.
update your app and everything should be available for you.
Yes. Oh, I just love it. I love it. And it's available for commercial use too, which is
Yes.
like the most exciting
Game
part because
game changing.
now I can totally do this while I'm editing client work, right?
Yes.
I can't do like super massive things quite yet, but I mean, we're getting there, you know.
Oh,
We're
for
getting there.
sure. So
Oh my
with
goodness.
that,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
somebody asked, what are the best ways to learn Photoshop for product photography? So if you're wanting to learn how to edit like you, what should they do?
Yeah, I mean, oh gosh, there's so many resources out there, like it's kind of insane. At some point too, we're going to release an editing course as well, which
It's
will be
on its
really
way.
exciting. It's on its way. But like so many of our friends make a lot of resources. Like there's Flern, Aaron Nace,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he has a lot of great you know, tutorials on like editing and retouching in Photoshop. There is Jesus Ramirez on his
Yes.
YouTube channel. I'm blanking on the title of his show, but he is great. He shows a lot of techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And then there honestly there's so many more YouTube videos coming up about like product photography retouching that
Yeah.
are like really impressive. So like I feel like you can really just Google and you'll find so much. So but also I will say too that Photoshop has been releasing a lot more tutorials too. So
Yes.
you
So
can go over to
nice.
help and then hands-on tutorials, and you'll find a lot of different you know, categories. So there's orientation, there's like different effects, and even our friend what's her face? Anna McNaught.
Yes.
She I've been seeing her
What's
videos
her
like
face?
come up. I'm like, I know we have too many friends, you guys, but we want more. Okay, we want more. But yeah, so I've been seeing her videos pop up on Photoshop
Mm-hmm.
as well. And they're all about specifically to generative fill as well. So, I mean,
Yes.
there are just a plethora of places and locations where you can find different resources. So, and Adobe Live. Honestly,
Yeah.
Adobe Live is the place for, like, also because not all the time do some of these creatives have, you know, platforms where they're sharing their day-to-day, you know, or editing styles or
Yeah.
techniques or whatever. So Adobe Live is honestly one of the greatest places to sort of like maybe follow if one of your favorite creatives happens to go on live, you know, on Adobe Live, and
Yeah.
then that way you can watch them, and honestly you can interact with them too, because you know you talk in the chat and ask questions,
Yes.
and so yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's cool to see people do think the same things different ways. You can see how
Yes,
somebody might do something differently than you and you can learn from that, which is awesome. So,
exactly. Okay, let me take care of this little guy right here. That's like the back of the tape, I think.
oh, yeah. Well, that's
Awesome.
generating another question. What is the best lens for product photography?
Guys, that's so good. I'm sorry.
That
I
is
get
really
excited
good.
every time. It's like so good. What is the best lens for product photography? Oh
Yes.
gosh. I mean, Our personal favorite is the 24 to 70, just because there's so much flexibility to it. You can zoom in and out. And then like, obviously if you have like a small space too, like having
Yes.
the ability to zoom out is like so nice. But I also feel like lately we've been like really loving the 100mm lens too, because of like being able to get really up close for textures.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then also when you're shooting regular scenes, I'm pretty sure one of these was actually, it might have been a different image. It might have been the single ones. It might have been this one actually, like this one,
Mhm.
where we used 100mm. And it's just, I don't know, there's something about that lens that makes it feel less distorted too. So
Yeah.
that lens does a pretty good job of kind of keeping things like level.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas obviously with, if you're using a 24 to 70 and you're kind of like zooming out, there's gonna be that distortion and that like, wide angle situation happening.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So let's just, yeah, I mean, you guys, that's really good from like this.
Amazing.
Oh,
With just a
I'm
few
obsessed.
clicks
Just a few
too.
clicks. I know. I know. So good. Let's see. This one's a little bit harder. I feel like I'm curious to see what it's gonna
What it will
do.
do.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. Not gonna lie. And I think when I was editing this the other day, I ended up just grabbing. Oh,
I mean,
I
that's
mean that
not
I
bad.
was mad.
That looks great.
Oh, that looks good
I like
too.
that one. That one's more subtle.
Yeah, I think this one.
Yeah.
I think this one wins. Wow, that's actually not that bad. I think in the other one that I've been editing, I just grabbed like a whole chunk right over here based on like the selection and just kind of like
Yeah.
moved it in. But honestly, that's not that bad. So I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. And then of course there's like other things that I could try doing generative fill too. Honestly, like I could even like see what it does to clean up
Yeah.
this
To fix
edge,
that.
to fix that. And actually, you know what? I am going to. So one of the things too, you can obviously make a selection and then generate, but you can also do the add to selection and do a few at a time. I'm curious actually what it's going to do if I just grab
Yeah.
all
Let's
of it.
see.
Let's just see.
And we have
Are you
about
smart?
20 minutes left, just so you know,
Oh my gosh,
for
where
time.
did the
I
time
know.
go?
I know. I know. It's
Wow. Okay, well,
flying.
good thing I've edited like most of this so we can jump on.
Yes.
Okay, that was a really bad selection. I'm sorry, guys. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
It really
Okay.
does.
I should have just used the polygonal lasso tool from the start. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's see if everyone knows what to do. And honestly, I probably should have like leveled this image first, but that's okay. We're just winging it here.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right, let's see.
See what
Let's
it
see.
is.
Hopefully it knows what we want it to do and it just cleans it up nicely. But again, you can kind of like do each section at a time because I think that would probably yield better
Yeah.
results.
Yeah.
But I'm just honestly curious. Like I'm like, can you just do a little clean horizon? Like give me what I
Let's
want.
see.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
That's
not
not
bad.
bad. That is not bad. This is a little funky.
Yeah, that
Like,
stem was in the way, so
yeah.
can't blame it too
Yeah,
much.
can't blame it too much. Yeah. Okay, okay. I mean, yeah, I think we're better off doing one at a time.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and do that really quickly. I think that might be a little, and actually I'll do this one together because they're kind of the same thing. There we go. Perfect. Okay. I love these like tips that they
I
added
know.
in like when you're generating.
It's so helpful.
It's also like nice to read while you're waiting. Oh, there we go.
Something to do. Okay, that looks great.
That looks so good. Yeah, I'm obsessed. Love it. I don't even have to look at the other variations because I love it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this one's a harder one, I think. Right?
Yeah, it's that stem.
It is that stem. I mean, I could like unselect the stem too, and I think it would probably
It might be best.
it probably might be best. Yeah.
Okay, while you're doing, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it. No.
I was gonna ask another question that was
Yeah.
sent in.
Let's ask the questions.
Okay, what do you do if things go bad during a shoot and it's just not working in the moment? You're on set.
Oh,
things are not
this has happened.
This
this has literally happened.
This has
like
never happened.
Okay, you guys, this one, it did not give it to me. I think I definitely need to. This is like old school dinosaur way of photoshopping that I have to do.
Okay.
So, but that's okay.
Well, I feel like that kind of also answers the question is sometimes things just don't
Yeah,
work and you have to figure out
yeah,
how can I do this a different way? Like, is there something I can change about this to make it better? And it also really depends. Are you working on a test project, like a personal project, or are you working with a client, right? If you have a
yeah.
client on set and there are certain things that have to happen, like you have to get certain shots and they're not working, that is a lot more stressful than like
Oh,
you're just doing a
yes. And it's
personal
happened.
project and it
It's
doesn't
happened,
matter.
y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why personal projects are so great because you kind of learn to flex those
Like
troubleshooting
problem
muscles,
solving muscles.
problem
Yeah.
solve, learn how to make adjustments on the fly.
Right.
So I,
And like communicate too, because I think that's
yes,
also like key.
yes,
Okay. You guys, Photoshop is killing me right now. I'm gonna request a review. So this is something that you can do. So if they're like,
yes.
okay, that why is this not allowing me? So I will just go ahead and check that include image and layer data feedback. Results were incorrectly blocked. And then I just hit submit and then we're good to go.
Yeah,
So I know Adobe really appreciates feedback. So whenever you can
yes.
do that, do
It
so,
helps
because
make it
even when
better.
you're, yeah, and even if you're like looking at like certain um certain like generations or like whoops sorry certain variations too, like you can go in and look and it gives you the option to rate it good, poor, or report. And yeah, you can just kind of keep going from there. So cool.
Cool. Yeah. And then I think taking a step back too, sometimes we will just like switch to the next, like move on to the next shot or something and switch and then come back to it. And sometimes just that time away. I think it's the same if you're working like you're editing or you're working on designing something. Sometimes you just have to like walk away and then come back. And that helps a lot,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't be afraid to just like try something different. Be like,
Yeah,
let's just like take out what we have and start over. And that's
yeah,
okay.
and that's okay, literally like right now, because this is not working for me.
Yeah,
So, at some point I will probably do, mask it over. But we're gonna leave that at that because I want to continue ahead since we only have so little time now.
I know.
So fast. But normally, once I have all these kind of generated like, you know, layers here, I'll just kind of merge them and call the gen fill clean or something like that. And then that way I have it on its own layer. And if I needed to go back for whatever reason, then I can do that.
Yes.
But let's go ahead and go back to the original or to the currently edited image so that you guys can see where we're at and we can kind of continue from there.
So that
So
one, sorry, that
yeah,
orange bird of paradise
yeah,
on the right, that was just that's the same one.
yeah, that's the same one. I just
I
like
love
flipped
it.
it and like, made it like, and I blurred it out too so
Yeah,
that it kind
yeah.
of looks like it's even closer.
It's forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more forward. And I might even try and bring it, like make it bigger potentially because it almost feels a little bit similar in size, but I kind of like it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I like
It
it.
fits in right perfectly where I want
Yeah.
the like, the edges to like it hugs this part of the image perfectly.
Yeah, it looks
So,
really good.
okay. So I think, yeah, that was that. And then I ended up just bringing in kind of like a less, bright version of this. It just looked a little like too
Yeah.
what's the word? What's the word that I'm looking for? It looked too uh yeah, just too bright. Like they didn't see details.
Yes.
Okay. So
Too
now that
hot.
I'm happy with it, yeah, too hot. There we go. So that's pretty much like I've like edited this completely. Like you can see even like no messes are left. Like everything is pretty good. So now I usually try to take care of like editing certain parts of the like products and props. So lately, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab the whole thing and make a new base. Base 2.0. There we go. So now what I like to do is do the object selection tool again, but this time I'll do a rectangle. And I'm just gonna kind of start grabbing every single product here, every single product and prop. So that did a pretty good job actually.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and select a mask. I'm gonna bump up the radius, the feather, and use that refine edge brush tool just so that we have that. I'm gonna press OK. And then I like to, let's see, add a levels adjustment. And then now I can kind of like adjust like these elements kind of like together.
And you're adjusting just the can then. So it's
Just the
not
can.
affecting the rest of the image.
Exactly. Exactly. And then I do the same thing. So then like, let's say I want to get this cherry right here. So then I go over to select and mask, kind of bump up the radius again and smooth it out, feather it out, and then same thing, another levels. And it's just nice because I can like, you know, affect just that and then keep going. So that looks, I mean, that looks pretty good right there. And it just does such a good job of like selecting.
Yeah,
things.
it really does.
Let me get in a little closer here so you guys can see. So it got a little bit extra here, but that's okay. So that's looking pretty good. And I might refine this part right here because I know that's not part of that. Hopefully it knows to take it out. Let's see. No, I guess not. Okay, that's okay. We'll just take it out manually. Oh no. Wait. Oh, I know why. It's because it's still not. There we go. Oh no. Is it not even okay? Let's get out of there real quick, guys. Let's see. Okay. How about now? Are you working? There we go. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Something was going on there. I was like, what is happening?
It just really wanted that to be a part of the mask.
I know.
Come on. I know better.
I know better, you know? Okay. So yeah, same thing. I kind of just like take care of like really like making those like elements pop, you know?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
gotta
our
make
favorite
it
word. Okay.
Then if a client says to you, can you just make this cherry or this can or this flower pop more? You say yes.
Yes.
And you know how.
Okay, that was a really good selection. I think when there's like good contrast between like the elements behind and in front, it does a much better job for sure. Okay, that's looking great.
And the colors are different too. Like that pink is so different from that green. So, which I guess is contrast, but.
For sure. Okay, let me see. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, let me grab these elements over here. So I kind of just continue to do the same thing. Let me add a little bit more there. Okay. I want you to include the reflection too. Guys, it's do you guys have like a editing face? Because I feel like I know I do.
I feel like everybody does.
I know, right? It's kind of like when you like curl your lashes and you're like, you know, you make that like face.
Yeah.
Okay, let me remove that part of the selection. That was not meant to be part of there. There we go. Okay. So here we go. And like, even though it seems like a very small, minimal thing, it actually does a lot for the image.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll even like go in and do more of it by adding like a, you know, dodge and burn like curves layer situation. And that's always like one of my favorite parts too, because then it's almost like you're painting in the lights and the, you know, almost like in the dark room, like you're like, you know, going into the light, like to brighten the lights or the whites and then like, you know, darken the darks. Okay. So definitely needs some brightening there. Look at how like, whoa, from that to that.
Yes, so much better.
So much better. It like so just like comes out. It's like great. Okay, and then let's just take care of doing this one and this one after. Actually, and there's so many. How much time do we have?
We have about like 6. Wait, is that right? Yeah. 8 minutes. That's
crazy,
7
you
minutes,
guys.
somewhere around there. Yeah.
All right. So fast, you guys.
6 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How did it go by so fast?
I know.
Well, you guys have been a great audience. I know that for sure.
Oh, for sure. One more question while we still have a little bit of time. Where did it go? Oh, as a
There we
newbie
go.
to photography, how long will it take to master this field or at least take decent photos?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
I feel
that's
like you're always going to
you're
be
always learning
learning,
and
you know?
growing. Yeah.
Like I would look back on some stuff that we shot even a year ago and be like, wow, we've grown so much in the last
Yeah,
year. I think the mindset of always wanting to grow, always wanting to get better is a good mindset to have. But
yeah,
also, like I'm sure you do take decent photos now, and there's always space to grow, but I think you're always going to be your biggest critic.
for
And
sure.
so just know that too, like you're always going to be more critical of yourself than other people are. And so you probably are better than you think you are,
Yeah,
but just practice and it takes time. And the timeline of how much you're going to grow will depend on how much you practice. The more you practice, the faster you're going to grow. So yeah, just making sure you're taking time to practice and learn and
hmm
get critique from other people. Find other photographers that you're friends with who can offer you feedback and vice versa, because then they'll be able to see things in your work that you won't be able to see and offer feedback, positive and, um, not negative, but, constructive.
Yeah, constructive. Yeah,
That will help you grow. I think that's just, yeah, super valuable. So,
for sure.
but yeah, there's no like, I'm sure you take great photos now and there's no specific timeline. I think it's just how much you practice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like forever. It's like a forever thing. Like you're
Mhm.
constantly evolving and growing. And I feel like that's the mentality to have, is that you're always going
Yes.
to be a student. We've been doing this for how long? And we still feel like there's just so much. I mean, new tools coming out like left
Oh
and
my
right.
gosh. Yeah,
Like, wow. Like just it's insane.
absolutely.
Okay. So I'm pretty happy with this so far. So yeah, again, like I'd probably go in and do some more. But I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this up by doing kind of more of a sharpening and then getting back into Lightroom and making it some additional
Okay.
tweaks.
Few more minutes.
Okay, perfect. So sharpen, can we do it?
We can do it. You got
Let's
it.
do it. So we're going to do a little bit of a high pass situation here. So I'm going to keep it at 1.8 pixels and it looks crazy. But once we send it over to linear light blending mode, that looks perfect. We're going to change it down to about 75%. I'm going to duplicate it. And now that looks really crispy and I'm obsessed.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And the way that it's going to save is then it's going to kind of bring it back in to Lightroom over here. So it should update. Let's see. Let's go into the regular. There we go. Perfect. So if we go over here, this is our edited, or sorry, this, let's see, where is it? Maybe it's over here. There we go. Or maybe we don't have it actually. I might have to add it in, but that's okay. Okay. So I know I have it in here in our fun shoots, personal shoots. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so it's just updating because it there's a lot of files here. We did a lot. So it might take a little bit, but the good thing
Taking a
is that
second.
I have already edited this image how I want, right? So again, that's the beauty of Lightroom, is that I can
Yes.
then copy these settings exactly how I want and basically just apply them once this is ready, right? So that's like the best part, honestly.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I know. See, we need to be a little patient. That's all. Okay. Go, go, go. Go
You got
Photoshop
it,
and go
Photoshop.
Lightroom. You got this.
Can you do it on that one that you just dropped in to Lightroom? Just paste it
Um,
onto the other one?
no, because this is the one.
Oh,
This is the
oh,
file
oh,
there.
I
I
see.
thought I hadn't had it in there, but I did. So,
Okay.
but hopefully it comes in. But if not, I mean, I can just show you guys what this one looks like.
Yeah,
But
let's do
this
that.
is kind of like the super,
Oh,
like, crazy crispy like image here. And then, yeah, so that's kind of like a pretty much like almost a final edited version there. And I might even tweak it a little bit more, right? This feels a little bit like almost a little too dark, so I want to like brighten it up. But for the most part, this is the final image.
I love it.
So
It looks so good. And it really, yeah, it just really shows like how much post-production makes a difference,
I know. I mean, from
It makes
that to
such a
this,
huge
like,
difference.
wow. I
Yes,
know.
it's
I
crazy.
know. It's
And
crazy. It's crazy.
the power of Photoshop.
I know. So cool. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming along with us on this. Oh, there we go.
Yes.
It just updated. It just updated. So, but that was
Okay.
it.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We had so much fun. Our next weekday edit is going to be on October 2nd. So make sure that you subscribe to Adobe Live on YouTube so that you know when we are going live. And also say hello to us on Instagram, Weekend Creative.
Yes.
Be our friends. And next up is going to be Transformation Mondays with Sin Lagos. So stay tuned and we will see you on October 2nd.
Woo.
Bye.
Bye.